All right, guys, it is 2 days out of the competition, and seeing as it is 2 days out, and this is probably the leanest I've ever been, I decided to do a BOD pod test. For those of you that don't know, this is a body fat percentage test, and the way it works is, first of all, you have to step on a scale to get your body weight, or in this case, mass. Then the machine is able to look at how much volume your body takes up by looking at the difference between when you're in the machine versus when the machine is empty. There's some air is pumped in, then pumped out. And then it's able to tell the density, because density is simply mass over volume. And then through a series of other complicated equations, it is able to determine how much of that mass is actually fat.
I mean, do you want to run it again, or do you want to believe you're...
What did the first one say?
You're like 1.4%.
And this one...
Or the first ones didn't even work. I think it's not, you see people being so lean.
Yeah, okay, yeah. And this one's at 1.4?
Yeah.
Do you mind if we do it one more time?
Yeah, let's do it one more time.
Thanks. Guys, I'm just so lean, oh my god.
Let's see. Well, this is our 2.1.
Now it's 2.1.
How do you feel about it?
Alright guys, first and foremost, I am not 2.1% body fat. If that was the case, I would probably be dead. Luckily, the guy was nice enough to offer me another test free of charge. This is an ultrasound skin thickness test. So what it does is it pretty much, using an ultrasound wave, will be able to tell down to a millimeter's accuracy how thick the layers of subcutaneous fat are around certain areas of the body, and then plugging into an equation, it is able to determine an estimate of what your overall total body fat percentage is. So some of you guys may be wondering, why am I doing this? Well, the reason is because I and my channel, I'm very scientifically and quantitatively inclined. People think of bodybuilding as being a very empirical kind of wishy-washy bro science sport, but it's not. In fact, it's quite the opposite. It is extremely technical, it is extremely quantitative, it is extremely mathematical. Everything can be tracked, everything can be predicted. You can know, I always want to know exactly where I am and exactly where I'm going. And this is a methodology which allows me to do so, because in the future, should I decide to compete again, which obviously I will, I can once again do a BOD pod percentage test and get an accurate comparison of where I am, 2, 3, whatever years from now in comparison to where I am today. And then you could see a perfectly clear, unobstructed view of the change your body has been going through over the last 1 to 2 years of growth.
I see. And when you have very little body fat, there's more variations there. There's no real way you can measure body fat without cutting yourself open.
Yeah.
Everything is technically an estimate, right?
And this is good too. I don't think I'm 5.6. I don't think I'm 2.4 either, but the point is I'm lowish.
Yeah.
So it's a good, in case I ever do it again, I'll be able to have like a reference of measurement.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you also have to realize, this is not taking into consider visceral fat. Both tests don't take.
They don't take into visceral fat?
That one does, but you don't know how much is visceral, how much is subcutaneous.
Oh, so it's like...
This is just subcutaneous fat, right?
Yeah. What's, for another one, what's a Dexa scan?
Dexa, so that uses, it's like dural X-ray absorption, something, right?
Something crazy.
That uses X-rays, and that is a much more expensive test. Usually you can't get it outside of a clinical setting. You might be able to, depending on where you look. But
yeah.
That one is considered like a clinical standard.
So that one's like really accurate?
Yeah. So the most accurate way is to take the average of 4 compartment models. How much body fat do you think you're at?
I would be surprised if I was under like 7%, to be honest, based on like
really.
Yeah, I've seen like visuals, right? Like in the community, in the industry, you always see guys, and everyone has like an idea of what body fat percentage is. It's almost like the best of the best bodybuilders, the guys who are on every single drug, who starve themselves, who are like taking diuretics and stuff, even they will get down to like 4, maybe 3%, but that's it. So for this to be like, for the BOD pod, for me to be like, oh, you're at 2.1%, I'm like, no, I'm not. So, but yeah, I don't think I'd be under like, for example, there was this one guy I followed, and he's like insanely lean. Like if you saw him, you'd think like, I have to take you to the hospital because you're gonna die.
Yeah.
Like he makes me look like fat.
Yeah.
He's got everything striated, glutes. He's got vascularity on every single part of his body, right? And his Dexa Scan was 6.2%.
Oh.
Yeah. So I was thinking like, Dexa Scan is obviously fairly accurate, and yeah, you have to do an average of all 4. But in that one case, if he's 6.2 on the Dexa and I'm like 2.4 on the BOD pod.
See, Dexa could resolute. I believe I could be wrong, but Dexa would take into account this visceral.
Yeah. Okay, guys, so there you have it. I don't think I'm 2.1% body fat according to the BOD pod, and even 5.6%, which is still pretty low, and I'm happy with. Even that's a bit low from, at least from my experience, what I've seen from this ultrasound test. I think the 7% estimate I said earlier in the video is a bit harsh on myself. So realistically, 6% body fat would probably be a bit more realistic, which I'm very satisfied with. Good morning, guys. It is Friday, August 14th. Today is one day out from my show. And as you can tell, I am dark as hell. I actually did the spray tan because we have to do one spray tan, one coat like the day before, and then we do another one the next morning. Mine just booked at like 7:40 in the morning, so I gotta get up, make my way down there, get the spray tan, come back, have breakfast. That's gonna be my carb up, and then do the whole registration thing, yada yada. Go ahead, and I'm not on till like 1 o'clock, even though we have to be there at 10. But there's like a whole expo, so we might just go walk around, see some shit, and then hit the stage. Little quick update on the physique. Okay, so today, carbs are still pretty low, calories are still pretty low. I know some people start doing a carb up the day before. Maybe if you're an ectomorph, I'm like somewhere in between, so I'm not really gonna be doing that. We're gonna be carbing up the second I wake up at like 6 a.m. I'm gonna be taking like 20 to 50 grams of carbs every 2 hours, up until pretty much like 1 to 2 hours prior to going on stage. So my big carbo meal is gonna be Thai food. I don't know why, this one time like I cheated, you know, or I had like a cheat day on carbs, and I had Thai food about a month or two ago, and just like later, like I would do it at work, right? It was like noon, and then by the time it rolled around like 5 o'clock, I was going to the gym. There was like vascularity, everything was popping out. So I don't know, I mean, lots of people advocate doing a sub. You just want something with, you know, like up towards to a maximum of 100 grams of carbs, 1,000 to 2,000 milligrams of sodium. Again, this is all coming more or less from Lane Norton's peak week diet, or peak week program. And that is gonna be my carb up meal, which I will probably have around 8 to 9 in the morning. It's gonna be a breakfast. And then afterwards, I'm just gonna keep on eating like, you know, rice cakes, nice, easy carbohydrates. Then I'm gonna have, I got some candy, I've got like fuzzy peaches and chocolate and shit, and that's gonna be consumed about 30 minutes to 20 minutes prior to before going on stage. I actually also have a little cup of red wine, which it's like high school all over again, when it's like, you know, you're sneaking around and you can't actually bring alcohol everywhere, so you bring like a little water bottle filled with vodka, except I've got a little water bottle filled with red wine. There's not a crazy amount of science behind it, but alcohol, at least empirically, has been shown to increase vascularity like a good amount. And I did it last year and I think it worked. Plus, it loosens you up on stage, which is kind of funny because last year everyone was saying like, oh, you know, like stage presence, I was the best because I just felt loose. It's like, even though it was my first contest, I felt great. Part of the reason was because I was like 30% drunk. So everyone else is out there like, and I'm just like, today I am still keeping it low. I mean, the water and the sodium is really low today. It does kind of feel crappy. I feel dehydrated to a certain extent. I'm only taking sips of water here or there. You know, you don't want to kill yourself. Guys, one thing I wanted to mention, and it's kind of it's kind of a hard topic to talk about, but it's Christian Guzman when he was doing a second competition, which is ironic considering this is my second competition. He touched on the exact same thing. So this organization is a lot bigger than my last competition, and although it is an OPA natural sanctioned event, there are still some guys that are like, holy shit, right? I mean, I weighed in at 169.8 this morning. I haven't weighed that much since high school. At 6 feet, I mean, I can't even, like, I'm literally close in bodybuilding to the lightweight category. And to see like some of these guys like there was one today I was tanning with, and he was like 5'10", maybe 8% body fat, fairly lean. Honestly, he looked like he was like 200, maybe 190 pounds. Just the most ridiculous insertions. Like this guy looked like he can bench 3 plates for like sets of 10. I mean, that's shitty feeling, and like, you know, natural or not, what the fuck? You can't win everything. There's always gonna be guys that are gonna be better than you know, whether it be from the genetic components or whatnot. So compete for yourself. I know that I am better than I was last year, and I know that the next time I'm gonna wanna compete, I'm gonna want to be better than I am now. And same thing with powerlifting, same thing with bodybuilding, same thing with men's physique. I implore you guys to do the same. Compete with yourself. Always try to beat yourself, whether it be the guy that you were last year, the guy that you were last month, the guy that you were yesterday. Beat yourself. Don't try to focus or compare yourself to others, especially in this sport, which is so immensely based on your genetic bone structure, your genetic natural testosterone level, your genetic insertions. There's nothing you can do a lot of the time. And so don't beat yourself up on it. I know I'm gonna try not to do so.